Imagine waking up one morning and finding out that the price of almost everything you buy, your phone, your clothes, your groceries, could suddenly change because of a decision made thousands of miles away. Not by Congress, not by a vote, but by one legal interpretation sitting inside the U.S. Supreme Court. That's exactly why Wall Street, global markets, and everyday Americans are watching one case more closely than almost anything else right now: the Trump tariff case. This story begins with tariffs, essentially taxes placed on imported goods. During Donald Trump's presidency, tariffs became one of his most powerful economic tools. He argued that foreign trade practices were harming American workers and industries, and that strong tariffs were necessary to protect the U.S. economy. Years later, those tariffs didn't just disappear. Instead, they expanded. And that expansion is what triggered one of the biggest constitutional economic fights in modern U.S. history. At the center of this case is a law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA. This law gives the president special powers during national emergencies. Trump used this law to justify sweeping tariffs across a wide range of imports, claiming economic threats to national security. But critics pushed back hard. They argued that tariffs are effectively taxes, and under the U.S. Constitution, only Congress has the authority to impose taxes. That disagreement is what sent this issue straight to the federal courts, and eventually to the Supreme Court. Lower courts weighed in first. In 2025, a federal court temporarily blocked parts of the tariff program, saying the president may have exceeded his legal authority. Markets reacted immediately. Stocks jumped, especially in sectors like retail and manufacturing, because investors believed companies might finally get relief from higher import costs. But that relief didn't last long. Appeals followed, uncertainty returned, and volatility came back into the market. When the case reached the U.S. Supreme Court, the stakes became enormous. This wasn't just about tariffs anymore. It became a defining question about presidential power itself. During oral arguments, several justices openly questioned whether the emergency powers law was ever meant to authorize broad, long-term economic policy like global tariffs. Legal analysts noted that the court appeared skeptical, but skepticism is not a ruling. And that's where we are today. As of now, the Supreme Court has not issued a final decision on whether Trump's tariffs were legal. No ruling, no official outcome, just a waiting period filled with uncertainty. And markets hate uncertainty. So how does this affect the stock market? First, tariffs raise costs. When companies pay more to import goods, those costs either reduce profits or get passed on to consumers. That pressures earnings, slows growth, and makes stocks less attractive. Second, uncertainty freezes decision-making. Businesses delay investments, supply chains hesitate, investors pull back. Even the possibility of tariffs being reinstated or removed can swing markets sharply. When courts have blocked tariffs in the past, markets have generally responded positively. When tariffs look like they might survive, markets tend to pull back or become volatile. It's not political, it's mathematical. Higher costs and unpredictable policy reduce confidence. Now let's talk about what happens next. If the Supreme Court ultimately rules that the tariffs were illegal, markets could rally, especially consumer-focused companies that rely heavily on imports. Lower costs would improve profit outlooks. But there's another side to that story. If tariffs are struck down completely, the government could face questions about refunding previously collected tariff revenues, which could impact federal finances and bond markets in the short term. On the other hand, if the court upholds the tariffs, investors may brace for continued volatility. It would signal broader presidential power over trade policy, increasing long-term uncertainty around economic planning. That kind of unpredictability tends to make markets nervous, not confident. Here's the most important takeaway. This case is not about left versus right or red versus blue. It's about who controls economic power in the United States, elected lawmakers or the executive branch. And the outcome will ripple far beyond the courtroom into retirement accounts, stock portfolios, and global trade relationships. Right now, the facts are clear. The tariffs exist. The legal challenge is real. The Supreme Court has heard the case, but has not yet decided it. Markets are reacting not to a verdict, but to uncertainty.